Well, we're back. It's cold now. Right now we're post-curing the fuel tank. I've got my friend Kelly's temperature-controlled heat gun set to 140, and we're just warming this up. We'll let that sit for a couple hours to get it post-cured before we do our final bonding. The other thing we got to do is prep that hole that this is sitting in for these fuel caps. So we want to recess that foam a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and we'll hard shell it with some peel ply on it to get it all ready, so that when we do the final layer, it's pretty easy, and we don't have to worry about dripping any micro down into the fuel tank or anything like that. So how to recess the foam gracefully, that's the question. And we made a few modifications, so we'll print this and give it another shot. Oh, and look, now we're able to watch things progress here on Bamboo Studio. So in an hour or so, we'll give it another shot. Okay, let's give this a shot. Yeah, this is better. So we hard shelled this in preparation for bonding this on. It looks pretty good. These are my zip tie anchors I designed, and what one of them actually looks like. Printed in PLA, but PLA is not going to work for hot aircraft, so these are done in ASA. Bonded this onto a piece of fiberglass substrate with some flocks and epoxy. And now we're going to do a pull test on it. Here's our high-tech test rig. Let's see what we get here. Failed, not in the bond, but in the print. Yeah, not surprising. Still pretty good. Take a look at the footage and see what we got up to. True confessions time. We got a little issue over here we need to resolve. While we were post-curing the Strakes fuel tanks with our temperature-controlled heat gun, didn't keep the nozzle maybe far enough, and maybe it got a little too hot because we were trying to experiment more than we should have, and we wound up with, oh, you can see it pretty well here. Got a bubble right here, and there's another one right there. Slept on it a few times. What we're going to try to do is put a couple holes in here, inject epoxy, and weigh it down and see how this works out. Otherwise, we're going to have to, sand a whole big section back and scarf in a patch. But let's try the inject the resin trick first. Well, crap, that didn't work. I went to just put a hole here, and it went through the first, through the fiberglass, and then promptly went all the way through the foam and came out on the backside. So I think we're going to try a different tool to try to get the other few holes in here. We use that filled with epoxy. Made a couple of holes in the top of that skin and just injected it. And then press it down with weights and to let it cure. And that's fixed. And coat it with a little bit more fuel tank sealant and call that one done. We're prepped here to put our fuel level senders in. We're going to go ahead and put some Type 2 Permatex gasket sealant on the gaskets and the senders, and then we will attach them over here. So we've got our ring is bonded inside of here, and we can get 2 turns on our attachment bolts. So we've got these spaced out so that everything should line up, and we should get well seated senders and tight. So fingers crossed. Well, we got these installed. Of course, we won't know for a month, 2 months if we did it right, or even longer. Couple of learning points. One learning point, definitely fit the gasket immediately before you apply, and not after you apply your coat of gasket sealant. I had them oriented up and down correctly, but I had flipped them around, the gaskets, so holes didn't line up, which sucked. So we had to pull it apart and redo it. So lesson learned, just refit everything one last time and make sure you know which are the mating surfaces when you apply that gasket sealant. So, which I knew, but I didn't do. Anyway, fingers crossed that this works. One thing I think that we're going to have to do eventually is back one of these bolts out and put a ring terminal on there, because I think we need to get the reference point, because this thing is measuring resistance on through the whole device, with this little hokey little potentiometer deal on the back. So this is one side of it, and then I think any of these other ones will be the ground to the other side. So maybe you can get it on the other side of this. I don't know. I'll just have to do a little bit more research on that. Worst case, we'll back one of these out completely out and put a ring terminal on that, and then that'll be the other. Been having a lot of second thoughts of whether or not I'm going to go ahead and finish off the top skins and the bottom skins and the entire strakes this winter. And I think I've come to the conclusion that we're going to hold off until spring to do this. It's just too an important part of the airplane to try to get it done when the conditions aren't really ideal. And I'm not really sure I can keep the conditions in the shop warm enough to get a really good laminate and do the best work we can possibly do. So I'm going to show you something that we did last week, and we're going to explore how well it went. But really that experience of working in the shop, even though it was warm, really wasn't as warm as I'd like it to be to get good laminates. So I think we're just going to hold off on this. We got plenty of other work we can get done this winter, and I think we're going to move on to that stuff and put the strakes aside until the spring. So this is the layup I did last week. I didn't really show you all the details of that. It just didn't work out. I'm going to pull off the peel ply and just see how good or bad this really is. While it was going down, it went down really thick. I wasn't able to squeegee out a lot. I feel like I got a little bit rushed in some of the corner spots and things. I'm hoping that I won't have to relay down a bunch of tape to make this a good layup, but we'll get into it and pull the peel ply off and have a look. So the funnest thing in composites is I think popping a part out of a mold and having it finally release. The next funnest thing is pulling peel ply off. Always so satisfying. Well, this came out better than I had feared. Really not too terrible. Just a couple little dry spots here, but really overall that's going to be fine. Maybe a little bit of a bubble in here, but again, that's fine. This actually is really good. This side came out well. This bonding all down here seems really good. So yeah, I think, again, this isn't really structural. It's just to close out that area, so I think it's great. To keep all the strakes content, in one group, I'm going to end this video here. So thanks again for watching. If you enjoy this content, like and subscribe, always helpful. And yeah, build on.